Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the September 23rd board meeting to order and ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustees Saturn,
Present.
Nierdowski,
Present.
Ingraffia,
Present.
Keenly,
Present.
Supervisor Sweeney,
Present.
and also Highway Commissioner Nierdowski and Assessor Caroselli.
Thank you. Public comment. Yes, ma'am.
Melissa Kerr, 1207 South Ridge Avenue. What is the, do you have a public Wi-Fi access here?
Yes.
We do.
Oh. What is it?
Well, I don't know it off the top of my
There's
head.
no password for it, is there? Is there a password for it?
It's a generic when we search. Can I give it to you? I mean, can I look it up and give it to you after we're done, or do you have more questions?
Oh, is it EGT Wi-Fi guests?
That's
It
it.
sounds like it, yeah.
Okay, because, yeah, all right, I connected to it. I must have connected to it before. What's the best way to find the, your website address for Elk Grove Township?
I don't understand. If you just do a search for Elk Grove Township.
Okay. And it's www.elkgrovetownship.com.
That is correct.
All right, I'm looking at the calendar, or I'm pressing the link for it on the calendar, and it says coming soon.
Okay.
Is that ever gonna be available?
We can tell you we can take a look at it. I haven't looked at that. I haven't looked at that specific calendar, but we can certainly make sure it's updated.
All right, please put on that calendar when property tax bills are due, when they are available on the website, what the website address is where they are available. And for the parents, please teach your children how to retrieve and review a property tax bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Heidi Graham with the League of Women Voters. I live at 1219 East Woodford Place in Arlington Heights. How are y'all tonight?
You're good. Thank you.
So I am, as I said, president of the local League of Women Voters that covers Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove, Elk Grove Village, Prospect Heights, and Wheeling. As you know, our volunteers work diligently in the community to empower voters. I'm here tonight to ask you to consider an ad in our youth engagement program. I understand that your budget has already been passed for this year, so I just wanted to get this on your radar for the next budget cycle. The idea for our youth engagement project, and I've given you each a sample, and Mr. Sweeney, I will give you this one when I'm done.
Thank you.
Began when we learned that in the last election in 2016, we had a 20-year low in terms of voter turnout. 55% of those eligible to vote actually cast a vote, and young voters aged 18 to 24, only 50% registered to vote, and only 39% actually followed through and voted. It is the goal of our nonpartisan 100-year-old organization to encourage active participation in our community. Educating eligible voters about how to register to vote is a major objective of our league. Moreover, an informed and engaged electorate will elect leaders like yourself who can develop and implement programs and policies to address community priorities, and voting is, we believe, the essential first step. In the 2018-2019 school year, So last year, we delivered nearly 3,500 of these birthday envelopes to students in High School District 214 and at St. Viator High School. Our goal was to encourage eligible 18-year-olds to vote. Inside the birthday envelope is a letter that includes information about how to vote, a vote sticker, a magnet with absentee voting information, and a pen stylus with the quote, "The vote is mightier than the pen." And the gift was hand-delivered by a school employee, usually a teacher, on or near the student's 18th birthday. This year, we just stuffed our first 1,000 of these last night. Our volunteers, we're a 100% volunteer organization. And this year, we will not only hit 18-year-olds, but if they turn 17, for instance, I have a son who just turned 17 September the 3rd, he'll be getting it because he can register to vote and vote in the primary because he'll be old enough to vote in the fall election. So we're really dedicated to making sure that young people understand their ability to register to vote. We'll be at all the high schools registering voters. We were at Rolling Meadows today. Tomorrow's National Voter Registration Day. So from our very first year of doing this initiative, we showed the following results. 79.6% received their envelope. 210 students cited the birthday envelope as the main reason that they registered to vote. 1,250 students cited the birthday envelope as making it more likely that they would register to vote, and the remaining students said that they would have registered regardless. So I understand that the township does not serve all of our area. I understand that. But for the families that we served, Arlington Heights was 3684, Buffalo Grove 619, Des Plaines 963, Elk Grove 860, Mount Prospect 2673, Prospect Heights 756, Rolling Meadows 719, and Wheeling 1631. This cost of this program costs us about $1 a piece, so that's over $3,500 to reach all of those students. We are not asking for a donation, though I won't turn it down. Trust me, you can go to our website and donate. What I'm asking for is that the township consider placing an ad on this envelope. As you can see, each envelope has logos on the back. And so for $500, these particular organizations, they paid for that placement. And so when you go to do your next budget, what I'd love to do is to be able to include the township logo on this. And in addition to that, like if you follow us on Facebook, you'll see that today we did our first thank you to a sponsor to reach, we have a pretty wide social media reach. We also, of course, tell our members about the support that we get from community partners. So that's why I'm here today. I appreciate your time. I know I've taken more than my allotted time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. You've had a chance to review the bills, or is there anything that any of the board members would like pulled off the consent agenda? Okay. If there's nothing that needs to be pulled from the consent agenda, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Saturn.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Ingraffia. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Saturn,
Aye.
Trustee Narodowski,
Aye.
Trustee Ingraffia.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Item E on the agenda, discussion and potential action on the approval of minutes. You have minutes from August 26, 2019, and September 10th special board meeting for the bid opening. Are there any corrections, questions, changes to either of those sets of minutes? All right, can I have a motion to approve both of those meeting minutes together?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Saturn,
Second it.
Seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, presentations. First up, Mark Toll from Creaney Company to discuss the sanitary sewer update and proposal and the long-term operation and maintenance program. Mark, please step up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Sweeney, trustees. Thank you for inviting me back again to make a presentation on the Township sanitary sewer system. I just would like to briefly go through the items that were included within your packet, answer any questions you may have. We've been working on a long-term operations and maintenance program for almost 2 decades now. The township owns and maintains approximately 5.5 miles of sanitary sewer. This sewer consists of clay sewer, iron pipe sewer, and plastic sewers. There's also 141 manholes within the system. Township to date has completed about 14,435 linear feet of cured in place lining, which is a process where there's a liner put into the sanitary sewer. Essentially gives you another 50 years or so out of that sewer based on the previous pipe that was already there. It also reduces infiltration of clear water into the pipe and improves the velocities that are within the sewer and some other engineering items. We've completed 187 manhole repairs. That's a touch more, you see, than the number of manholes within the system. A few of the manholes that we've gone back and done numerous repairs on over time or replacements on. Essentially, the township has taken care of all of the high priority repairs that we had noted in our report that we did about 10 years ago. We've moved on to a preventative maintenance portion of the program where we're lining every few years to allow the entire system to be lined. In the past year, a few other items that we've done, we've submitted the annual reporting that is necessary to the MWRD. We've developed a long-term operation and maintenance plan. We've developed and submitted a private sector program to the MWRD, as well as developed the aforementioned II inspection ordinance, which was also in your packet. So coming in the packet, there's a few more pictures. I'll just highlight pre-lining with a clay pipe that has a gap in the pipe. That's one of the reasons why we put the liners in the pipe. A couple of repairs. This is a T repair on a service with a broken pipe shown next to it. We show a frame and lid replacement in the curb line. This is to reduce any infiltration in that gutter. You get stormwater in the curb line. Some of that infiltration can get in there, as well as these lids are made with a gasket on them so you can't allow any clear water into them. The interior of a manhole there that was grouted to reduce any infiltration coming in any of the joints. And then this is a example clip of one of the areas that the sanitary sewers have been lined from the Township Atlas here. The various colors represent different years of linings that occurred within the township system, the yellow being the most recent that occurred in 2017.
One second, Mark. We'll get you a color copy.
Oh,
Those were
I assume
color
those are
ones I
yellow.
emailed.
Yeah, so, well, you have them in your email, but yeah, so look in your email for the color copies.
apologies. So moving forward, the 2019 sewer program, we're proposing to line approximately another 6,200 linear feet of the system at a budget of approximately $155,000. The plan is to publish a bid notice mid-October. At the same time, we'll submit permit applications to the MWRD for the work, to IDOT and local municipalities for work within their jurisdictional right-of-ways. Allowing a month till the bid opening. We'll have the bid opening, we'll qualify the low bidders, contact them on their references and whatnot, and then work through a contract with those bidders. That sets us up for a December construction process. We've done this over the winter time several times before. It's a good time for pricing, as well as a good time to work through the linings. They can enter in through the manhole, so there's not really a lot of excavation involved with this process. It all generally works right through the manhole openings. In 2019, we'll also prepare the annual report for 2019 to be submitted to the MWRD, and on occasion from time to time we do sanitary sewer reviews as they come into the township for new construction or someone needs a sanitary replacement. The second bullet item on your agendas had to do with the MWRD infiltration program. There's an initial program the MWRD had that dates back over 20 years. It was to reduce clear water getting into the sewers. Purpose was to lower the amount of clean water that got into the sanitary sewers, ultimately into the MWRD's interceptors, that they don't have to treat, and ultimately so they don't overflow at the MWRD's end into rivers, into Lake Michigan and so forth from their sanitary treatment plants. That program was a cost-effective based program. You went through, you analyzed your entire system, you looked at areas that you could get the most bang for your dollar for being able to replace or line or remediate different areas of the system. We went through that process with the township in the late 1990s, performed that sewer analysis, began the lining program, which is the program still ongoing today. In 2014, the IEPA changed some of the requirements that required the MWRD to institute new ordinance language within their MWRD ordinance, which covers all of the sanitary agencies within Cook County. That was implemented in 2014. There was a short-term program that was implemented with that. That was a 5-year program. Reassess areas. You could use some of your existing information if it was recent that you gathered in that assessment, which is what the township did. We continued to just work through our same program through the process. It required annual reporting, and then it required the development of that long-term operation and maintenance program, the updated version of that, which we put together over the last number of months within the last year, which is included in your packet there. That's the voluminous program that you guys have the information on there. In the long term, that program also has a requirement for a private sector side program. The township needed to prepare a program where there would be ongoing inspection of private properties. This is something that occurs in most all properties within the jurisdiction already with the villages at the municipal level. When they re-inspect the water meters, they also typically inspect sanitary services. So we can get that information from the villages for the areas that are incorporated. This will mostly be in those unincorporated areas within the township that are served by Elk Grove Township Sanitary Sewer. And that is the proposed ordinance language that was included in the package there. So this all generally is to reduce that clean water, to keep the clean water from cycling through the sanitary system, ultimately not producing groundwater back into rivers and Lake Michigan and the waterways. So I'm available for any questions if anybody has anything they'd like to ask.
Does anybody have any questions for Mark? And specifically as it relates to under item J, number 6, that's what is listed here to pass that ordinance to allow for that. So I don't know if you have any specific questions about that, but that's what asking you to vote on or at least consider tonight. So, anything else for Mark? So yeah, so we'll get go out to bid. So in November timeframe will be when those bids come before the board.
Correct.
Qualified.
Correct.
They'll come in. They'll be qualified. and for the board to review.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
All right. Next presentation from Michael Balin from Mesirow Insurance Services to talk about upcoming health insurance, upcoming enrollment period and, well, benefit year. So, yeah, Mike.
So hi everybody, it's good to see you guys again. I'm Michael Balin with Mesirow Insurance Services, and I'm here today to talk about the upcoming renewal for Elk Grove Township. And before I get started today, I promise not to ramble on for too long. I know a Bears game just started, so I'm sure a lot of you are excited to get home and watch our defense bail out Mitch Trubisky all over again. But I'm excited to be here. And I think we'll just kind of dig right into it. So everyone should have a packet, and I think a good place to start would be Section 3. So Section 3 is a summary of the current coverages that Elk Grove Township offers the employees. So medical insurance is with Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's coming up for renewal beginning December 1 of 2019. Dental insurance is with Delta Dental of Illinois. That policy is not up for renewal until January 1 of 2020. But that policy will actually have a rate guarantee associated with it. So those dental rates are not going to go up or won't be subject to an increase until January 1 of 2021. And a new program that was put into place last year was a voluntary vision program through VSP. That too is under a rate guarantee. So rates for that voluntary vision program, those actually won't be subject to an increase until December 1st of 2020. And voluntary, what that means is that the township actually doesn't contribute any dollars towards that program. It's entirely funded by the staff. And for a little bit of context, last year the medical insurance renewal was actually a decrease. It was a 6% decrease last year. I unfortunately don't have as good of news this year. It's not a decrease, but we put together a handful of options for you guys to consider. So we'll dive into that in a minute. So flipping through to Section 4. Section 4 is benchmarking data. So what we do here is we take Elk Grove Township's medical plans and we compare them to benchmarks within the industry, within the region, and within employer groups that have the same amount of employees as Elk Grove Township. So page 1 of this section. So Elk Grove Township's in the Midwest region. And flipping to page 2 here. So this is the average annual medical cost per employee. So the way that all of these slides are actually organized is the orange is employers with between 10 and 499 employees. The dark blue is the Midwest region. The turquoise is public entity or government. And then the 3 columns to the right are Elk Grove's plans. Now the gold HSA doesn't have a bar associated with it because there's actually 0 enrollment. So Elk Grove has 3 plans, but employees are actually only enrolled in 2 of them. And where we get average annual medical costs is we take the total premium for that plan and we divide it by enrollment. So if you had a total premium of $1 and you had 10 employees on that plan, the average annual medical cost would be 10 cents. So as you compare it, you'll see your silver HSA is a little above benchmarks at $11,480 a year. Then the blue choice options or plan 3, which is the lowest cost plan that Elk Grove offers, it's a little bit below benchmarks at $9,093. But again, this is total cost and total billed premium, not the employee's contribution or just Elk Grove's contribution. Page 3, so average percentage of employees with dependent coverage. So for Elk Grove, it's 31.6%. And there's a couple of variables that really go into that. Number one is how generous the program is, so how many dollars Elk Grove contributes to it, and then also the demographics of the population. So if everyone was 25, unmarried, no kids, you're not going to have a lot of dependent participation there. But as you get up into the people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they have spouses, they have children, given a 50% contribution by the township, they're pretty likely to cover a dependent. But then also you have people that are maybe in their high 50s, 60s, or even 70. So some of those people might be on Medicare. If they have children, they're over 26, so they can't actually cover their children on the medical plan anymore. So all those factors kind of together comes to an aggregate percentage number of 31.6%. So these next slides here are going to talk more specifically about employee contributions, total dollars, deductibles, that kind of thing. So page 5 is the employee share of premium articulated in terms of a percent. So employees pay 5% of the premium for single coverage for the Silver HSA and the Blue Options HSA. For the Gold HSA, which is the most expensive plan, employees are actually required to pay 15%, but again, nobody's on that plan right now. And then for family coverage, those numbers are 31% and 32%. And so the township contributes 50% of the additional premium for dependents, but when you blend that in with the township paying 95% for single coverage, the effective percentage for the employee is about 30%. So when you add them together, the effective amount, it's not 50, it's actually a little bit less because of the high contribution that Elk Grove gives to employee-only coverage. In-network deductibles is on page 6. So these numbers do not include the HSA contribution that the township gives employees. So these are total deductible numbers, but does not include those HSA dollars that Elk Grove contributes. So you'll see between the Silver HSA and the Blue Options HSA, the deductibles for single and family are actually a little bit higher than benchmarks. But when you factor in the HSA dollars that the township is contributing, that effective dollar amount or the effective deductible to the staff is actually a little bit less because of the HSA contribution given by the township. And I'll get into those dollar amounts in a minute. Co-insurance is on page 7. So 100% coverage on the Silver HSA, and on the Blue Choice options, it's actually 100% for Blue Choice coverage. And then out-of-pocket numbers is on page 8. So the Silver HSA out-of-pocket maximum is $4,800. Blue Choice options is $4,000. And then for family, the Silver HSA is $13,100. And on the BCO HSA or Blue Choice options, it's $12,000. So I know I'm kind of throwing a lot of dollar amounts at you guys, but what I like about the benchmarking data is that it gives you guys context and it gives you guys perspective. So instead of me standing here saying this is competitive, this is not competitive, you guys can actually see how Elk Grove is compared to benchmarks, compared to similar employers. So I think it's important information to keep in mind as we really dig into the numbers and into the renewal and all that good stuff. Does anybody have any questions for me before I move on? Okay. So section 5. Section 5 starts to, or is the section that outlines the actual renewal for the medical insurance, which is again, the renewal is December 1st of this year. And the way we organized it is the left-hand column is the current program and current rates, and the right-hand column is the renewal benefits with the renewal rates. And like we did, or like we articulated in previous years, the renewal rates can be either age banded where everyone's premium is different based on age. The older you are, the more expensive the premium. Or you can elect composite rates, which is a blended average of the age-banded rates. And under a composite structure, employee-only coverage for a specific plan, it would all be the same. So whether you're 65 or whether you're 25, a composite rate is a composite rate. There's no variability between ages. The plan designs themselves are actually very similar. So if you look at plan design 1, the individual deductible in network is going up from $2,700 to $2,800. So that is a difference, and it's outlined in red because that's actually a benefit cut. So anything in red is a benefit cut, and anything in blue is going to be a benefit enhancement. The out-of-network, out-of-pocket on Plan 1 is going to unlimited. So what that means is that if someone were to go out-of-network, there's no out-of-pocket cap on the expenses that that individual could pay. So Blue Cross would still pick up their 50% of claims, but there's no hard cap if you were to go out-of-network. Now, if you stay in-network, that doesn't matter. So Blue Cross's PPO network is huge, and especially here in the Chicagoland area, frankly, it's hard to go out-of-network with the PPO plan, or with the PPO network. But that is a change, and it's going to unlimited for the out-of-network, out-of-pocket. Plan design 2 is exactly the same. Deductibles aren't changing. Coinsurance is still 100%. Then plan design 3, this is the Blue Options plan where you have actually 2 networks. So you have your Blue Choice benefit, which is 100%, your PPO benefit, which is 80%, then your out-of-network benefit is 50%. And this is the plan where if employees go to a Blue Choice provider, the benefits are better. So deductible is less, the employees out-of-pocket is less, but they also have access to the PPO network, but the numbers associated with the PPO benefits are a little bit higher. And then total premium is listed towards the bottom. So under the age-rated renewal, rates are going up 12.4%. In terms of dollars, that's about a $24,000 annual increase. The composite renewal is a 10.91% increase, which in dollars is $21,446. Now, in theory, whether you go age-banded or composite, those rates should add up to about the same number. But just given with where Blue Cross's renewals are, which plans are going up by what percentage, it doesn't always add up to the exact same dollar amount, but they're always close. And then one last thing I wanted to point out is Plan 3 is increasing at a higher rate than Plan 2. So Plan 3, if you look at the age-banded column with employees 11 through 19, Plan 3 is actually going up 17.9%, and Plan 2 is going up 8.48%. So that Plan 3, frankly, it was underpriced. So Blue Cross didn't necessarily price it correctly, and now they're making a bit of an adjustment to that plan to make it more competitive, at least for them.
What percent did you say Plan 3 is going up?
Or in total, 17.9. So for each individual, it varies a little bit. Yeah. So this is a very popular plan. We have a lot of public entity clients and private sector clients that have taken advantage of this kind of plan because it was underpriced and it fit the needs of that employer. But it is getting a bit of a manual adjustment, beginning December 1 and 19. So that's our starting point. That's kind of the foundation. Given the way that Elk Grove contributes towards the medical plans, shifting to a composite structure would be pretty difficult because if you look at each person, some people would go up over 100%, some people's rates would plummet. It's just the kind of the nature of blending. So the composite rate, not that you can't do it, but the effect to the staff would be frankly, a little all over the place. If you flip the page, so here's an option 1 with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. So what I did here is I kept Plan 2 and Plan 3 the same, which is where all the enrollment is. And instead of that Plan 1 HSA, I replaced that plan with an HMO. So an HMO is a very, very different program than what the township has today. And there's pluses and minuses. So we'll start with the positives. So on an HMO, there's no deductible, 0, for individual and family. The out-of-pocket is $1,500 a year for an individual, $4,500 for a family. And comparing those numbers to what the deductibles and out-of-pockets are for Plan 2 and Plan 3, those are a lot lower. Another positive is that there are copays on this plan. So on any high deductible plan, or on the high deductible plans Elk Grove has, there are no copays. So you pay the cost of the visit, goes towards your deductible. Having copays part of the plan, copays are lower than the HSA cost for going to see a doctor or picking up a prescription. So under this HMO, it's a $10 copay to see a primary care doctor, and it's a $45 copay to see a specialist. There's also copays for drugs, and it's a 6-tier structure. So depending on the price of the medication, it can range from $0 for a 30-day supply to $250 for a 30-day supply. Again, under the HSA programs, you pay the cost of that drug and it goes towards your deductible under the HSAs today.
Did you say 3 months supply?
30 days, excuse me. Yeah, 30 days. So what's not so great about an HMO? Well, the plan is different. So on an HMO, an employee would need to designate themselves a primary care physician, and all of their medical care would need to be coordinated through that specific doctor. If you need to see a specialist, you got to get a referral from your primary. So it's called a gated structure. So all of your medical care is coordinated by that one specific doctor. It's also not an HSA qualified plan. So anyone taking the HMO couldn't contribute towards their HSA anymore, and the township couldn't contribute towards an employee's HSA account anymore either. So it's
What a FSA?
an FSA you could do. Yeah, an FSA you could do. The network associated with this HMO is called Blue Precision. That is smaller than the PPO network, and it's actually more similar to the Blue Choice network. So the network is a little bit smaller. Pricing wise, if you guys were to take this HMO, it would be your middle price plan. So it's less expensive than Plan 2 right now, but it's more expensive than Plan 3. So if you flip to the next page, this will show the relative pricing of the HMO, assuming all 19 employees took it. That obviously wouldn't happen, but from a pricing perspective, it would be your middle price plan. If down the road, if you guys decided to offer this HMO and nobody decided to take it, that's okay. You don't have to have any enrollment to be able to offer the HMO. If we go through open enrollment, nobody decides to do it, that's okay. You can still have it, in your back pocket, still be part of the portfolio to be offered to new employees. You don't have to have any enrollment in the plan to be able to offer it. The next page outlines an initial quote from United Healthcare. So generally speaking, United Healthcare's plans are better, or they are richer than Blue Cross's plans, but pricing, they're not very competitive. So if you go towards the bottom, you'll see that United Healthcare's quote is almost 33% above current. Now, this is not apples to apples, so the plans are different. They are a little bit better than the plan offerings right now with Blue Cross. But from a pricing standpoint, they're not close. So it's a 33% increase from current. These next couple of pages dig into the contribution split, so what Elk Grove pays and what the staff pays. So just as a quick reminder, so effective December 1 of 18, you'll see what the HSA contributions are. So this is what the township contributes to every employee's HSA account. So it varies depending on the plan. So $1,600 for an individual, $3,700 for a family, on that G535 plan, which is Plan 1. Again, that's the plan with no enrollment right now. Then S534 is Plan 2. It's an $1,800 contribution for individual, $4,100 for family. And that S507, that's Plan 3. That's a $2,300 contribution to individual, $4,600 for family. Then below that, you'll see the percentage splits. So Plan 1, G535, Elk Grove Township picks up 85% of employee only. Employee picks up 15. And then Plan 2 and Plan 3, Elk Grove picks up 95% of employee only. Employee pays 5%. And it's the same split for Plan 3. Then for dependent coverage, Elk Grove picks up 50% of the additional cost to add dependents. The next page starts talking about annual spend. So I'm talking percentages and what does that mean in terms of dollars. So right now, the billed annual premium on the Blue Cross bill is $196,000 a year. Of that, Elk Grove picks up about $160,000 of it, and the employees pay about $35,000 of it. Those are current rates, effective December 1 of 18. Now, if we took the renewal rates without any plan changes, kept the employer-employee percentage splits the same, total annual premium is $221,000, of which Elk Grove picks up $180,000 of it, and the employees pick up about $40,000 of it. So under this scenario, Elk Grove would be picking up the majority of that increase. So that increase is about $25,000. Under this scenario, Elk Grove would be picking up about $20,000 of it, and the employees would be picking up about $5,000 of it. And this last page here, the bottom half of it, this is an example, and this is what the dollar amounts would be if the employee contribution for employee-only coverage on Plan 2 and Plan 3 went up to 10%. So an increase from 5% for employee-only to 10% for employee-only. And the effect of that change would essentially, or approximately, take that $25,000 annual increase and cut it in half. About half would be absorbed by the township, and half would be absorbed by the employees. So it takes you to an annual Elk Grove Township contribution of $172,000, and the employees would be about 48,000. So this is not the only scenario, obviously, that that we can talk about, that you guys can consider. But Eric and I were talking about it, and she actually read my mind when we were talking about it, before the meeting. But I think just as an illustrative example, I wanted to show you guys what 10% would look like. So I know this is a lot of information. I know this is probably the first time a lot of you guys have seen this. From a timing perspective, there really is no rush. So the deadline with Blue Cross to make any plan changes. So let's say you guys wanted to offer that HMO we were talking about. The deadline to do that's November 1st. So you guys do not need to make a decision today. If you'd like me to come back in October, after you guys have had some time to think about it and to mull over the numbers, we could run a handful of different scenarios. In the meantime, we're happy to do that. But do you have any questions for me?
Quick question on the HMO.
Sure.
I have Blue Cross Blue Shield HMO, but each one is different. You said this one, the network is smaller than the PPO.
It is.
Is it dramatically smaller than the PPO?
It's not negligible. So a couple of examples. Northwestern would be out of network in the HMO. University of Chicago would be out of network on the HMO. Lurie Children's would be out of network on the HMO. So my experience with the HMOs is it's kind of one end of the spectrum or the other. So if it's offered, some employees may already go to a doctor that's part of that HMO, and they might really like that doctor. So that would be an easy transition. Some people don't like it. They don't like that they have to go to their primary care physician every time they need to get something done. So that you kind of lose flexibility, but what you gain is you don't have a deductible. From an employer's perspective, the contributions are competitive, or the total premium is competitive. So it would be your middle price plan. There would not be an employer HSA contribution towards an HMO plan because it's not a high deductible qualified plan. So it's kind of just a different way of thinking. So I know you guys, but Elk Grove has been offering HSA qualified plans for a long time now, probably about 4 or 5 years. I think it's been a really positive transition. But it's not the only way to do things. It's not the only kinds of plans you guys can offer. So I think an HMO, is, while being very different, I still think it can meet the needs of some of the staff.
So employees could do an FSA through their own money, not through the township.
Exactly. Correct.
We couldn't provide any money? Maybe I missed that part, sorry. For HMO.
Can we provide money for them to have an FSA?
We could do that, couldn't we?
You could do
Provide some,
an HRA. It's
an
called
HRA is what I'm
a
thinking
health
of.
reimbursement account.
Okay.
So that would be, the township saying, we'll give you $500 a year
if they incur actual costs.
if you incur claims.
Yeah.
So an HSA, it's a deposit into somebody's account, and they
Right.
can use it or not use it. Under an
Those are-
HRA, it's actually kind of employer friendly because you're only out that money
Right.
should people have claims.
Right.
So it's a variable cost instead of a sunk
So that's
cost.
that's an option. And if you're saying the top plan now isn't being utilized, why not?
Why keep it?
Why keep it and bring in something else that potentially could be advantageous?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that really didn't surprise me. But the employee-only
Oh, yeah.
contribution going
Makes
up a little
sense.
bit on that plan, and the employer HSA contribution going down a little bit on that plan, people migrated down.
Very good. All right, any questions for Mike? I would say, as questions come through, absolutely, you can reach out to Mike directly. But I said, if you want Erica and Michael work very well together. If you want to use Erica as an intermediary to answer any questions that you have, feel free to email her. She could potentially have the answer, or if she needs to, get in touch with Michael to get any answers, any questions answered before next meeting.
If we went with adding the HMO, we have to have it voted on before November 1st.
It would be voted on either tonight or at the October meeting.
Everything has to be voted on before November 1st.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
Correct.
not just the HMO.
Right. Now, open enrollment for the staff can be in November, and employee decisions can be after November 1st, but the employer decisions need to be done by November 1st. And I'll leave a couple cards in case people
Yeah.
have questions for me, so.
Like I said, either way, both. I mean, I could think Erica's, I think, had quite the education over the last several years.
She's a pro. She's a pro.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
I'll open it up. I mean, is anybody interested in taking any action tonight? Or I wouldn't think so, but I mean, I just,
Why don't we just wait on it?
that's fine. I just wanted to ask just to make sure. So, and action, you don't have to make any final decisions. If you wanted to discuss any components for taking action, by all means. But if you want to have some time to let the information sink in, I mean, that's fine too.
Do you have any thoughts on any changes so far?
Right now, I mean, from what I've seen, is just, not having the utilization on that, is it the gold plan or whatever that is, potentially working in that HMO, but what that would look like, I mean, obviously, I think we need to consider, and one of the things I'm going to get to Michael on, because I want to look at everything a little deeper, but what we can, what we're seeing, maybe potentially down the line, but, are we going to continue to offer that 5% cost share, or do we want to increase that? Other than that, I mean, I think including the HMO could probably be beneficial for the employees, give them an option they might actually choose. But other than that, it looks to me staying with Blue Cross makes sense. Offering the HMO makes sense. My concern is just long-term cost share. So where I come down on that, I just don't know yet. I need to dig in, and I want to do Erica provided me a long-term analysis over like the net increases over the last several years. If we're still in a net, net growth that I feel comfortable with, I'm okay with keeping it the same. If over 5 or 6 years that's grown too much, then I think we need to start considering an increase in the cost share, but I need to go back and look at that analysis.
Good.
All right, thank you, Michael. All right, reports, the assessor's report, Connie.
Good evening. We are still open for Board of Review appeals. Our outreach program last Thursday night had 89 attendees. The staff was there to do appeals on site. We got a lot of compliments from our taxpayers. Commissioner Patlack did his usual professional job on explaining the Cook County property tax system, which, as you well understand, is not an easy thing to do necessarily. The numbers that you saw in my report reflected the activity in the office from a week ago Friday. So just to give you an update and let you know the type of activity we're going through right now, just in the last 5 days, last Monday through Friday, we had 225 walk-ins, and they did 186 appeals. So we've been busy, and we will continue to be busy until we close on October the 8th. Also, please take note that we will be having the Recorder of Deeds outreach program October 1st at the Elk Grove Village Chamber and that council chambers. That's at 6 o'clock. two topics are going to be discussed there. Very often, seniors do not have a will because it can be a very highly expensive proposition. From simple, to 500 to more complex into the thousands. And so the Recorder of Deeds program is that, let's say the only asset that a senior has is their house. They can transfer that upon death, register it with the Recorder of Deeds for the cost of $50. That's substantially saving them a great deal of money. That's also true with a car. The second topic is on title fraud. You know that when you go get a mortgage, your title is affected, right? Well, titles can be affected by, let's say, an electrician who didn't think you gave him enough money, and they can put a mechanic's lien on your title. They have a free program with the Recorder of Deeds. All you have to do is go online, register for it. Anytime your title is touched, you will immediately get an email. So this is a totally free program, but I can't imagine why everybody would not participate in that. As an example, my deputy was getting a home equity loan for some remodeling work, and as soon as she signed the papers, she got an email that it had been registered against her title. So the program works and works very well. I attended the Cook County Township Assessors meeting, both the executive board and the regular meeting. The discussion has been hot and heavy over what has gone on during this triennial. The horror stories are almost becoming legendary. And for that reason, the executive board is now reaching out to Assessor Kagi, because we've, obviously we've already gone through the problem and had to deal with the problems. But next year there's going to be another third of the county that's going to be reassessed, and hopefully they will not have to go through the problems that my staff and I have had to go through. And as an adjunct to that, at the meeting we were presented with the 2019 Good Neighbor Award from the Cook County Township Assessors Association in our work with the triennial and our help for Wheeling Township. So we were very pleased to get that. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Connie. Clerk's report, George isn't here. You have his written report. If you have any questions, I would reach out to him upon his return after Wednesday. Highway Commissioner's report. Art?
I have a couple items I'd like to share with you that are not in the report. A few weeks ago, we had what the TV weatherman claimed to be of the third highest rainfall in the area that we had. And I just want to say that our culverts in the section here where we had the road construction and the drainage projects, the water was up to the top, and we're kind of watching that because that's really the first, test of what that system's going to do. The rain stopped about an hour or so after that. The culverts were empty, but the biggest thing was a lot of people's backyards, front lawns. Normally when we have a small rain, they have a lake there. We're completely dry, so I just want to say Mark Thole and Creaney Associates really did their homework, especially with all the changes we had to do on that. So,
Great.
And second thing I like to do is, as long as I've been here, me and Wayne running the department haven't really needed anybody else, for help. This year we had two instances where we needed somebody to help us keep the schedule up, and I just want to thank and acknowledge our building maintenance man, Mario Schlitino. I say that right? Step up, jump out there and help us on a last minute's notice. Looking to do more always, so I just want to thank him for that and Township for that.
Great.
Okay.
Any questions for Art? Thank you, Art. Can I have a motion to approve the elected official reports as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Ingraffia,
Second it.
Seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, correspondence, you have an update for the Center for Enriched Living. You can read if you have any questions. Encourage you to reach out to Paul or CEL directly. Okay. Moving on to old business, finally got some updated information on item 1, the recertification of elected officials regarding participation in IMRF, specifically as it relates to non-governing board elected officials. So you're looking at those who still, the positions that are still in IMRF, the highway commissioner and the assessor. So just gathering some information. There's Form 621 from the IMRF, basically that the non-governing board official would sign stating that they qualify and they're certifying that they do work the number of hours required under our 600-hour shop level. That form would then go to the authorized agent, which is myself. So the question came up of, what if there's a disagreement between the authorized agent and it would be the highway commissioner or the assessor? Their answer was the authorized agent would send the form down to IMRF regardless of signature, right? And then it would be in IMRF's hands what they wanted to do. If they wanted to do something, if they wanted to look into it, investigate it, would be up to them. But that essentially gives the non-governing board elected officials the opportunity to certify that, yes, I work the hours. It would give the authorized agent the ability to say either I don't agree or I can't confirm, and then kind of gives everybody an opportunity to say their piece. IMRF can do with it what they'd like. Whether they investigate or not is completely up to the Board of Trustees. The only other thing that they mentioned as far as tracking hours, they don't have any official recommendation for tracking hours. They said through their experience it's been primarily on the honor system, but any formal process of tracking hours would be done by the board to provide that. But
By this
that's it,
board.
by this board. And that's it.
But then
So
this board doesn't have to approve their application.
you don't do anything, right? It's essentially them.
Wait a minute now.
That's a right. I mean, that's the rule. So the rule change from IMRF.
It's up to us if we want them to keep a log. Is that what you're saying?
A log or any other measures that you wanted to track hours. Yep. So that's
Thank you.
the limited information, right? I mean, at least, like I said, it gives, I think we covered everything that was of, concern. It's essentially, allowing the elected officials to certify themselves with some oversight from the authorized agent, but then ultimately letting IMRF do whatever they might do, right? There's no, they never said there's no guarantee of any kind of investigation. That's just, they want to allow the authorized agent to make that determination of whether to sign or not, so. So on that end, you would just, Paul can get you, I don't know if you have a 621 form. Paul will get that to you, both of you. You can certify, you can send it, you're just certifying that you work the hours. Paul will get it to me, and then we'll send it down to IMRF.
When does this recertify every year?
So, from my understanding was because the board was doing it every 2 years, that's the expectation that for every 2 yees that you're, recertifying that you're working the hours.
Right, so this is going to be the end of the term.
Yeah, they don't do it. It would, for practical reasons, it would. But yeah, I don't know if they necessarily do it by term. But yeah, for our purposes, yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. All right. You've had a chance to review the proposed revisions to the employee handbook. Any questions about the proposed changes?
I don't have a question about the proposed changes. I would just,
Okay.
just had a question about the address.
Mm-hmm.
So when our address changed, then do we change the handbook?
Yeah, I mean, we can make that change, right? Yep.
So that's not, because that's not really like a
It's not a
change in the
substantive
manual,
thing, right, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
that's all.
Okay. Any concerns about moving forward with these changes? No. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the changes as presented?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Keenly. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Saturn, sorry. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, under new business, the first item is a resolution 2019-06, not meant to be presumptuous, but just to have the paperwork ready based on the township attorney's findings and review of the qualified bid. So we plugged in Reiki just in case the board wanted to move forward with a one qualified bid that we did receive with that information there. I will say with that bid dollar amount of $111,038, just going back and just from a construction meeting and Paul and I are working on an update through email that we'll get to you. We just had a construction meeting on Thursday, so we're putting stuff together to send out to you. But part of that was discussing the millwork that was included in the bid for Integral. So based on the millwork that's being done that was included, that Reiki included, right? They included some millwork like in the conference rooms, the lunchroom, the dais, just to, they offered that as to like match the rest of the furniture and things like that. That would essentially, if we left it on the Integral side, that would be essentially a reduction of about 10.5 to this. But if we had Reiki do it instead of Integral, it would drop the dollar amount on Integral's side. So there'd be somewhat of, the dollar amounts aren't exactly matched up, but it's a relative wash. It's in the ballpark. So we've already agreed to pay for the millwork portion that they've included here. So we've already approved a bid that included the millwork we need.
Okay.
They included the millwork here because they can do millwork that matches the furniture.
Okay.
So that's why it was included here.
Okay.
So if that factors in, like I said, another essentially bid reduction of about 10.5.
It wouldn't increase the other millwork, would it? The price of the other.
I gotta go back and double check the number, but it's comparable. I mean, I don't remember the exact dollar amount that was included in Integral's bid,
Okay.
but it was, my last check, it was comparable. I'll have to double check though.
If the money is about the same, is there a reason to have one do the millwork over the other?
The only thing, and I'm not too concerned about it because I think Integral, and they've conveyed this, that they can get their hands on any kind of material, and they've shown us what they can do as far as millwork. So the one thing that was a nice element was that, like in the lunchroom, like they can match the millwork and the cabinetry to the furniture, which is kind of a nice touch. But Integral feels strongly that they can acquire similar material and do the same thing, which I don't doubt. They've been fantastic to work with so far. But honestly,
Would that be at an, I don't know if you can answer this, but would that be at an increase in cost on their part, Integral's part? If they had to match?
no. Unless the material, the finishing material was some really expensive
Okay.
item for some reason, but no, we don't see it being, it's hard to answer until you get down to the specifics, but no, I don't anticipate it being a substantial change one way or the other.
Who was able to see the furniture?
I went down there last Friday.
Okay.
Paul, yeah.
And it was more, to me, what was more impressive was their workshop. That everything that they build from, to your specifications, the material you want, with the finishings you want. Connie and I had a conversation, or maybe you had it with Paul, and Paul conveyed it to me, but questions about personal, like once we picked out the general furniture, what it would look like in the layout, finishing touches that her staff needs for, call it hidden keyboards or whatever the case is, or just,
Slide out, yeah.
so, yeah. So just being able to obviously take some general, obviously the idea was to have the aesthetics look similar everywhere, but then being able to add some of the finishings for specific workstations that don't take away from the aesthetics, but make the workstation more suitable to specific departments or employees. They're able to do that, but very impressive workshop. It's very cool, the different elements of their building, which is, I think, a 3-story. It's a huge building plus a warehouse. You can see it right off 90. And they're different workstations where people actually work. It's a showroom where their employees work are showrooms of the different things they can do, the different finishings. They can do every configuration imaginable because they build everything custom. Absolutely 100%, everything is custom made right there. The only difference was the chairs. There were some elements of the chairs that come over. I can't remember from where in the bid. They called it out in the bid. Was it China?
Yep.
Yeah.
The seat cushions are $7. It's assembled here, but I think the seat cushions come from overseas. But everything else manufactured right down the road in Elgin. And it's very impressive facility.
What's the color scheme?
That would be the next thing, right? So that would be they kept with this. This would be the kind of the more of the neutrals, right? But then there's a range of options included in this dollar amount. Which I asked to see, the different kind of grain appearances and colors and things like that all would be included in this range. That would be the next thing that the board would have to tackle if we went that route. But, because then we'd take, then it's a matter of just like you would do at your home, taking paint color, floor samples, and trying to match all of that up. But there's a nice range of product within this dollar amount. This bid.
Not the lime green that I saw on the website.
What's that?
Is it not the lime green I saw
No.
on the website? There was
Unless
many
you want
nice
it.
colors. but
No,
there
unless
was
you
lime
wanted lime green.
On lime green.
3 more people to vote with.
green. It's gonna go out of style any day now. so.
But no, it's really nice. Really nice. Just, like I said, everything they had in there, they built, and like I said, they're nice range of products in the bid that they put up. They didn't do, just the, press board stuff thrown together, and they didn't bid the high end stuff that they do. But obviously, from talking to to Vivian, they wanted to give us a nice product that, like I said, doesn't seem to me that they make crap anyway, but they wanted to make sure it was reasonable, that they didn't go high end to the point to where it was out of our reach. So okay, so what are thoughts on the bid, the company, next steps? Questions about why? Well, the one was disqualified. The other two were non-compliant. One was but obviously one was priced way out anyway. The other one, obviously Jason laid out the non-compliant issues.
Was that the one that had been in business since November of this year?
I can't remember what that date was.
that
The
the one?
incorporation
I
date. I
enjoyed
don't
that.
remember.
It had even.
I enjoyed
Oh
it.
yeah,
what
it
I
hadn't
thought
happened.
about
The
that?
incorporate.
Yeah. It was a little wacky.
Yeah.
What did they say as far as timing that we can get?
6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Want a motion,
Well, I mean, I don't know what
guys?
there's any concerns we need to address here.
Choice?
Not looking like it. Yeah.
What do you think?
Is going this route, I mean, like I said, I mean, like, you still have the ability to repurpose if we wanted to try to work that route. Like I said, I'd prefer to go this was a lot more reasonable than I thought, and then if you include the millwork that we've already included in the integral bid, $100,000 seems very reasonable for everything that's included.
I think we kind of sort of decided that we don't want to
Yeah, I mean,
repurpose. We wanted to go.
but it was kind of based on price, right? What were the numbers gonna come back? And whether or not the 111,000 seems reasonable for everything that we're getting. I think it's very reasonable, for, like I said, being able to, have it manufactured, essentially relatively right down the road, having it nearby, having that lifetime guarantee for them to be able to fix things right in their shop if something were to go wrong. There's a lot of added elements that I don't necessarily think reflect that I think what's a very competitive price, so.
And when are we thinking ballpark we might be able to get in there?
That's in the email, but I will tell you, ballpark has shifted a bit. It took us a while to get the permit from Elk Grove Village, longer than we anticipated, about 2.5 months longer. So we're looking, they still think there's play in there because they know how bad I want to get in there, and there were some things when they dug up concrete that they had to address, which they have addressed, and I'm glad they're very detailed. But we're looking Christmas Eve.
Ooh.
Maybe we'll wait for the open house a while.
Who's cooking?
Yeah. So Christmas Eve, but they do believe there's another potentially several weeks, if not maybe a little bit more than that, where they can, depending on inspection schedules and things like that, they might be able to accelerate that. They're not obviously promising, but they think there's some more play in there of at least a few weeks potentially. So.
So December.
What's that?
December.
December, maybe late November.
Okay.
So, like I said, yeah, the permit process, we did have to, obviously, the big thing was, what do they call it? The fire, fire prevention, is it? I mean, I guess it would be.
The security, the fire,
Yeah, some of the fire protections, obviously because our building's gonna be public use, there were some additional things that the Public Works facility didn't have to comply with on ordinance that we will, because it will be public use, at least certain sections of the building. So, some areas we had to add additional fire protection, some of the drywall and things like that. So additional reviews, we went back and forth, I think essentially, I think it was maybe even 5 times at least, 4 or 5 times at least. So, I mean, Elk Grove was great. I mean, their turnaround was good. It just, they wanted to ensure that there was, that they had all the I's dotted and T's crossed, so it took longer than we thought. All right, if everybody is okay with moving forward, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution. Now, I just will say this, even though we're approving this, if we can still at a later date decide on the millwork. So just because this kind of max out at 111,000, if we pull the millwork out, then that just reduces this price. So with that, if I could have a motion to approve resolution 2019-06.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Keenly, seconded by trustee Saturn. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Saturn,
Aye.
Yardowski,
Aye.
Ingraffia.
Aye.
Keenly,
Aye.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Elected official overnight travel to TOI in November. The following elected officials are seeking board approval to attend the conference. Myself, George, and trustee Keenly. I will be going And myself and Trustee Keenly will be going for the night, going down on the 10th and coming back the 11th, so one night. Clerk Busty is requesting to attend, arrive on Sunday and return home on the 13th. So is it 3 nights? Any questions about that?
So moved.
Okay, travel approval, motion to approve the travel was made by Trustee Ingraffia. Is there a second?
Second it.
Seconded by Trustee Nuredowski. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Saturn.
Aye.
Trustee Nuredowski.
Aye.
Trustee Ingraffia.
Aye.
Trustee Keenly.
Aye.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay. Item 3, I just wanted to get this on your radar. There's nothing, and we obviously, with the new time frame, we have a little bit of time. Obviously, because we're going to have another entrance that's going to be an entryway to support, to serve food pantry, general assistance. Then we have youth services and adult and family counseling. So that area, to have somebody brought on and trained to not only greet folks as they arrive, but to be able to answer questions, have time. Like I said, if we move on this later on, that's okay too, but this individual will be up to speed on all the different programs to at least be able to offer information when questions are asked over by phone or when people come in. So an administrative position to support those departments, obviously with folks coming in that entrance, and having familiarity with those programs to be able to support the staff in those departments.
Well, making the assumption that we get in, even at the beginning of the new year,
Yeah.
January 1st, going out and interviewing people, et cetera,
Right.
then going through the training is going to take a while.
It will.
Does anybody have any problems with approving this at this particular meeting? Otherwise, it goes until October, which cuts down the amount of time that you have.
I'm not, I mean, I don't want to put, like I said, it's a new position. With a new position at 35 hours a week adds benefits, adds, all these things. I don't want to, I'm okay moving forward. Obviously, I asked to have this on the agenda, just thinking for, but I'm not looking to force the issue. I agree with you, but I'm just saying, I mean, if you'd like to move forward, that's great. I mean, if this works, that's fine, like I said, but I don't want anyone to feel like it has to be
Okay, we'll wait.
worked right now.
What do you want to know?
I've only read it over once, but, so this person will be the person out at the desk.
Correct.
People come in for social services and the counseling.
And, yeah, the youth services, counseling, and the general assistance.
They'll be doing work for the social services, not the counseling center.
Well, we're going to see what it's like once the counseling and youth services get in. They've been essentially without direct administrative support for forever. I mean, I don't know if they ever had that on-site administrative support. So we're encouraging them, because they do their own flyers. So the goal is to encourage them to lean on the administrative support, the employment center as well. There's several ways in which we already know in the social services that person can support them, and we're going to be encouraging the other departments to lean on that person as well. How they take advantage, I don't know, but the other part of it is making sure that they know, like if someone calls about counseling appointments or how they go about that or anything, to have them at least knowledgeable to be able to answer questions. Even if they have to direct them at a later date, they would have the knowledge of all of those departments.
So the people in social services now have too much, so they need this person to do some of these things?
No, I wouldn't say it's too much. It's someone to.
It's more because
It's more because you have another entrance as well, to have somebody to engage them when they're there, to be able to answer some initial questions, some triage as well. If someone comes in, do you have an appointment? Okay, what materials do you need to come back with? or what do you have, or to be able to set an appointment. And then, yes, there are some administrative things that do tie up the staff, just like they tie up the youth services and counseling staff. So yeah, that will be part of it. They are busy. I mean, they've been able to manage, but this is more for greeting folks and kind of triaging and being able to streamline things so that the staff in those departments don't necessarily have to pick up a phone just to pre-qualify somebody or triage somebody. That person can help do some of that. And then we also talked, George talked for a while, which we allocated space to a lending closet, to have that as well, for that individual to operate that lending closet as well.
Geographically, too, all the staffs will be behind the locked door. That'll be the only persons out front,
Yeah.
really, with the...
Yeah, and Paul raised the point that everyone else, because of their departments, will be behind security doors too. So this will be the one person that's out front, easily accessible. So, but give it some thought. Any questions about more details about what these tasks could potentially be, and then rate of pay as well, what you potentially would want to potentially do there. But just wanted to put that out there so that we could take action at a later date. And like I said, any questions you have, please let me know. Okay, we have the annual resolutions for office closing dates and regular board meeting schedules. Item 4, Resolution 2019-07, schedule of office closing dates for calendar year 2020. Any questions about this? We did change the, did I say the wrong one? No, the closing dates, yeah.
Right.
Yep, the closing dates.
This is comparable to last year.
Everything is what we talked about last year. And as always, if you want to recommend a change at these, just because we do this now annually, doesn't mean we revisited it before. We can revisit it at any time. All right. No questions, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Ingraffia, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, Resolution 2019-08, regular board meeting schedule. The only thing that we'll point out is the February meeting got moved, right?
Yes.
February meeting got moved just to allow for the 30-day budget window, let the budget sit for 30 days.
So it is the 24th?
So that's the one that's not on the fourth Monday.
Is it a different day of the week?
No,
guess it's
it's,
the March
no,
one.
it,
The March
no,
one
the
is-
March, I'm sorry, I
March is-
misspoke. It
No,
is the
my-
March one.
Yeah, I told you wrong. It's March the 23rd, because let me see, 23rd, 16th, no, 9th, 2nd, no, it wouldn't.
Hold on, sorry.
It is February.
I forgot my phone.
February 24th is the fourth month. January 20th. January meeting was the 20th. It should have been the 27th. So we changed the
I'm
date
lost
of
here.
the
1,
change.
2, 3, 4, that's the 20th. Oh, the 20th, the January meeting was the one that was
Yes,
changed.
yeah.
All right, the January,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I apologize. The January meeting was the one that was changed.
Yes, my fault.
So that it can,
So it's the
Yeah.
previous Monday?
It's the 20th,
it's the previous Monday, correct?
Still a
Instead of
Monday.
the 27th.
Still a Monday.
It's still a Monday, yes.
which is Martin Luther King Day, right?
I believe so.
Not necessarily.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're open, yeah, but yeah, that sounds right.
It's on a Monday.
What's that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they
is
give
on the
us
15th,
5
but
weeks
it's on a Monday.
between January
Third
20th
Monday,
and
something
February
like that.
24th to approve.
Okay. Yeah, because that's, yeah,
That's the tentative, that's the 30
right.
days.
Yep,
14th of
absolutely.
September.
Okay. Any problems with that change moving forward?
Martin Luther King.
All right, can I have a motion to approve Resolution 2019-08?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Saturn.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And then this last item was ordinance 2019-03. Is that the right number?
That's an ordinance.
Oh, the ordinance, I'm sorry, ordinance, yeah. So this is just to allow, in compliance with the long-term operation and maintenance program from MWRD, just an ordinance to allow inspection on private property for illegal connections. Can I have a motion to approve ordinance 2019-03?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Saturn, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee
Ask
Nuredowski.
a question.
Yes, sir, please.
Who's gonna do this?
The engineer,
The guys that
Mark
behind.
Toll.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
I think you need to take a roll call vote because it's calling for the ordinance on the vote by trustee.
All right, okay, so it looks like we want a roll call vote. All right, let's back up. We'll do a roll call on ordinance 2019-03.
Okay. Trustee Saturn,
Aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Ingraffia,
Aye.
trustee Kingley,
Aye.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay, there's nothing left to come before the board tonight. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Saturn.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Nuredowski. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Ken?